Hey guys, welcome back to Guys That Listen. I'm Mario,
My name is Peter.
and today we got the very talented OC's most entrepreneurial Andy.
What's up, everyone? Thanks, guys, for having me here today. My name's Andy Nguyen, and people like to say I'm a serial entrepreneur.
Definitely.
I do a lot of restaurant concepts, Web3 now. I started in real estate, went to clothing, and I'm all over the place.
Wow, so you do it all.
Try.
No, dude. He's a big part of basically a lot of like OC's businesses since a long time ago. I'm King was like your first one?
I'm King was my second business I started. Yeah.
What was the first one?
My first business was I was a real estate appraiser.
Oh, damn.
So I dropped out of college pretty early.
That's where it's at.
And I decided to follow my friends and start our own company just because 18, 19-year-old at the time didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was already on probation in community college. I was like, hey, this is not my route. And then my best friend already dropped out. You know, he found some guy that looked similar to us, you know, Asian, young, and you know, he had his own business. And we were like, the hell? Like, he gets to do whatever he wants, and he doesn't have to be a doctor or a pharmacist or a lawyer. And if that's the case, then I'm down to do whatever.
Isn't it crazy how you were like in school and you were kind of like failing out and you find all this like more success just getting out of that kind of system?
Of course, I think, you know, the school system just didn't work for myself, right? Just the things that they're teaching or the way the textbooks are being taught, you know, was never engaging for me.
Yep.
So I couldn't find my way to relate to it. I couldn't retain the information. You know, when I was younger, I was like, damn, I'm just dumb, right? And then over time, as I started learning different things or finding topics and other things I was interested in, then I'd soak it in so much better. Like whether it was like music, sports, pop culture.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, well, those things, I just know it.
You soak up, right?
Yeah, so easily. But then when it came to like, you know, science and math and algebra, and I was like, what am I using this for?
Dude, I thought the same shit. I was like, man, I must be dumb. Like, you know, it's something I keep like getting all these C's or D's and stuff. And got out of school and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I could just do this all on my own. Just like try and like, I can actually like put in my own effort, and I found so much more success that way too.
I've definitely learned way more outside of school than in school for sure.
And I think if you're gonna be a doctor, you know, a lawyer, things that you have to do in college, you have to do those things. But some people, it comes naturally to them in those, you know, in that world. And then when it comes to, you know, like culture or what's happening outside, it doesn't work well for them. So you know, it's just different lanes and different things of interest.
It seems like you have a good handle on like the culture, you know, like how did you develop that? Or have you always been a part of it?
I was, you know, growing up as a kid, right? Just, you know, cartoons and collecting toys and figures, and I just became this collector of things, from the Ninja Turtles to the Power Rangers to G.I. Joes, Transformers. It just, I always studied it from, you know, beginning to end, from toys to games and everything. And then as pop culture, as things evolved for me into like music and learning about hip hop and urban culture, and I started learning, you know, I became obsessed with basketball and video games and sneakers, and it all kind of tied into where my life led me to today.
That's crazy though, dude. Like as you know, just speaking as an Asian person, right, and dropping out of like college, that must have been really rough for your family. Like, how'd you tell them? Like, how'd you get through that?
I've already been the black sheep of my family, because in high school I was already arrested, getting kicked out of school. Like I already went through that already, so I was already the disappointment to my parents. So they're like, their expectations for me in college weren't very high at that point, right? They're like, hey, you're out of all your friends, how are you the only one that got kicked out of school, going through all this? Like, you're like already the worst Asian possible. Like, expectations are not that high. So, you know, for myself, I didn't actually tell them I dropped out.
Oh wow!
I told them I was going to continue to go to school and do the real estate thing at the same time. I just lied to them, so I was like, hey, get them off my back so I can just try to focus on this. And just over time, as I started learning more and the business started building, you know, they asked less and less questions. You know, they kind of figured over time, like, I guess he's not going to school anymore. But they'll ask me once in a while, are you going to go back? I'm like, yeah, maybe next year.
Has there been something that's been your favorite project? Like one of these things that you started from the beginning, or like a failed project that you never got to?
There is so many things that our group we've worked on over the years. Every project is like a new kid. It's like having a new kid, right? We love them all differently. I can't pinpoint to any of them, because every industry I've jumped to has had a big impact into where things led now, from the good experiences to the bad ones. I've had a concept where there's a donut shop that we opened that didn't serve donuts in the morning. We didn't even open till noon, right? And I knew this concept was like set up for like, and we weren't even making the donuts on site. We were having it delivered in because we didn't have a kitchen to do it. So we opened this place called U Jelly in Fountain Valley, and from the start, I was always like, man, I'm not getting the menu I want.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the quality I want. I feel like we're getting set up for failure, right?
Wow.
And then I leave town for a few weeks. I think I went for a bachelor party or something, one of my friends' parties. And I come back and they added poke to the menu, right? And I was like,
what?
I was like, how are we having a donut store and it's serving poke? I was like, this is disgusting. Like, I was so pissed, right? I was like, this is like my.
How does that happen without you?
You know, there's a lot of people involved, and if you're not here, people got to make a move, right?
Yeah.
And that happened, and I was like, yo, this is pure madness. But the sales, it didn't increase the sales. It just kept dropping and dropping because it was disgusting. Right? Why would you have a donut shop?
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make
It's
sense.
off brand already.
Yeah.
And then I came up with this idea. I was like, guys, if we're gonna do this, let's just clear out the donut idea. Let's go. I don't want to do a poke concept, but I have some ideas on how we could take it to another level and do what things that people aren't doing.
Yeah.
And we did like the poke burritos, and then I had this idea I wanted to push for a while. I was like, hey, want to do this sushi donut type thing. And when we put that out, that completely, you know, we opened this brand, we switched it out, it became Project Poke.
Oh.
And Project Poke took off like literally 7 a.m. You had people like wrapped around the block.
Yeah.
Trying to get the sushi donut,
Yeah.
pictures of, and I'm like, the hell, like 7 a.m. Who wants to eat fish like this early? But, you know, it got so viral that I was like, hey, we got to run with this. But that was a good lesson for us from a failed concept and flipping it to something that worked.
That's awesome.
And then we sold the business later.
Yeah, nice, dude.
That's nuts. What was your first restaurant that you guys started?
The first restaurant we started was After's Ice Cream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in 2014.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, and
The lines for that were
That was
crazy.
insane.
Yeah, that was very surreal years in those early days.
Yeah.
Just a concept that, you know, that was shifted and changed so much over time of development.
Yeah.
And I had the idea in my head for about 2 years already to do an ice cream concept.
Wow.
Just couldn't find the right people to get it off the ground with.
Yeah.
And I was still doing the clothing thing at that time. I still had a clothing brand in that time period. But Afters was just a hobby because I still had a clothing brand, and I just wanted to open this up for fun. But it got so crazy that you know we did something that was never done before. Really completely changed the way people were shooting food and eating food.
Yeah.
So that made us like shift. I had to make a decision: do I still do the clothing thing, or do I go fully into food? And you know, I chose the restaurants.
I definitely saw that shift. Like, I have a picture of After's Ice Cream on my Instagram from like years ago.
Yeah.
You know, just
I
like
remember taking a picture like this with your hand out, you know? The classic, classic IG pose.
the Cookie Monster or something.
yeah, dude.
And it kind of, at least here, from what I remember in Orange County, it kind of shifted like the food culture a little bit, especially like on the gram. People like I would always see people posting about like, you know, their food, their ice cream, and everything.
Yeah, actually, that made me hate a lot of people the way they post because they would come to OC and they'd be like, "Oh, look at this ice cream that I'm getting from LA." I'm like, dude, we're not LA. Like, what the hell?
Exactly. It became a thing, and people had to travel. When they came here, they had to stop by Afters, right? It just became part of the thing to do when you come to California.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you'd see anywhere you go out of state, you'd see blue ice cream on every single menu, Cookie Monster everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? We put that blue ice cream on the map.
Yeah, you did.
But it's pretty cool to watch and
Should have patented it.
think back at what happened, and you know, because it was surreal. We didn't know it was going to happen like that. You can't predict. That was supposed to be a one-store thing, and became 30 locations in the past 8.5 years.
30 stores?
Yeah.
Nice. You're not a part of Afters anymore, right?
No, I recently exited about 2 months ago.
Wow, that's crazy. How'd you shift out that? I mean, it seems like you're transitioning in and out a lot of things. Because, I mean, you're an entrepreneur, but, like, you do a lot of things in different industries. It's not like you stick to, like, one thing.
My attention span and just goes everywhere all the time. Being in the creative field, just since I've been doing entrepreneurship for about, like, 18-plus years now, you know, over time you feel like, okay, well, I don't want to be stuck to one thing anymore. I don't want to feel like I have to I'm just allowed to do this anymore, right? I was like, hey, I have the resources now. I have the network. I have the experience. I should just be able to, if I feel like doing it, I should just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, I'll figure it out along the way anyways. I've done it already. Like I have so much talent and great people around me anyways that if all goes to shit, we'll pick back up right after that.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
You don't feel like it's your baby? Like the after's like,
No, like I think in the beginning when you're in the moment, yeah, you see all of it, but we're moving so fast now, and there's so many more different opportunities, and we see so much other lanes that we want to go and disrupt that we just were like, hey, well, we already did this. What else do we have to prove in this lane? Yeah. But we see opportunities in other worlds or cultures of how we can break through and bring things together, and that's what we look out seek out to do.
There's this in writing they have this thing called kill your darlings, where it's like your best things, scrap them, and then you're forced to like go in a different lane, go in a different way, go different routes because you bet on yourself, like you bank on yourself to be more successful because you've created that kind of like environment and foundation for yourself, or like you get rid of what was good already, you can do something even better.
Of course, absolutely, totally agree.
Do you feel like you're ever gonna stop?
Maybe a decade ago, I was like, hey, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna go retire when I'm 30 and go chill and do nothing ever again. And here I am at 37 years old, going probably even harder than I've ever been.
Yeah.
I probably won't ever stop. It's just because I'm doing things most people don't get to do, right? Most people only get to do like one business or one career in life. They get to maybe change jobs, but I'm getting to do all the things that I've always imagined, right? I get to work I sell food. I sell food for a living, right? I'm building community. I get to work with a lot of people that I admire. Yeah. I get to create and work. I own businesses with my best friends that I've grown up with since I was a kid.
That's so
how many people are going to say that, right? So most people are like, hey, you don't work with your friends. You're going to wring each other's neck. Yeah. And I've had those. I have people that I won't talk to this day, right? Yeah. But I also have my first business partner from real estate is still my partner to this day, and he's still my best friend. That's we work together. We understand each other's lane. He's in the background of things. Like I always everyone loves to give me all the credit. Yeah. But without him, I wouldn't be here.
That's awesome,
I mean? Like
dude.
it takes a team and a whole village to make this all happen. Yeah. And
shout out to what's his name?
It's Polo. Yeah. Polo. Shout out to Polo. Nice, he's the man, and a big reason why I still get to do this.
Like across everything that you've done, like what's one common thing that you feel like contributed the most to you being successful in your business?
I think the success for myself is continuing to be authentic. I think I keep the door open for anyone to have access to me. If you're respectful and you're kind, then I'm gonna go out of my way to help take your life to the next level, right? Because I'm definitely fortunate to have opportunities and access to change someone's life. Yeah. So people have done that for me, and I want to be able to do that for other people as well.
That's awesome, dude. And again, thank you for coming. Like, honestly, through the years of knowing Andy, like one of the nicest guys. Always says hi to me, and I always say hi to him when we come across each other. It's always like smiles. It's always like, dang, how is he always he always does that. I'm always like, how is he? Always seems so positive, and I know that things are not always so smooth. You know what I mean? You could be going through a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, it's like if you can smile across someone else, it's like you're making their day better. And I feel like you've always been that person because I see you talk about your business partners, people you grew up with, people that you worked with that were like working for you at one point, now working together with you as like partners. Like you said, community. That's one of the big things that you do, and I do feel like you bring a lot of community to like Orange County and like pretty much everything that you're doing for the most part. And you're giving a lot of like awareness too. Like right now, you're working in the Web3 space, and also you're connecting it to food, which is insane because a lot of people don't even know what that is. You know, they don't even know how to start comprehending something like that. Yep. But yeah, man, thank you for everything that you've done. It's made OC pretty awesome, like I say.
So Orange County is very important to me, and this is where I was born and raised, and I continue to still live here. And I always feel like I'm, I when people mistaken it and call it LA, it drives me crazy. So my thing is always
same shit.
My thing is always like if I wear stuff, if a lot of times I wear stuff, I'm wearing Angels hats, I'm wearing Ducks. I'm like I'm repping for Orange County. Yeah, dude. Forever because it's where
and it's crazy because people don't notice the things that we've done. It's like we have so much good food here. Our food is ridiculous. Food culture is awesome, right?
It is. I think people think it's so far, like 45 minutes if they travel down there, like, hey, we don't want to go Orange County. Yeah. And they assume Disneyland. I was like, hey, Disneyland is Orange County, right? Like, when you come down here, you come visit. Yeah, if you want the best Vietnamese food, you're coming to Orange County. Period. Easy. Around the world. And then even downstairs from where you guys are at, Stussy. Yeah. You talk about streetwear. Stussy's the one that's the first streetwear brand. Period. That's the one that created this lane for everyone. All these cool LA, New York guys in Japan, but it all started at that brand that's downstairs right downstairs from Orange County.
Yeah. Exactly. I feel like we definitely don't get enough notoriety for the stuff that we do. but I feel like it's starting to get there. You know, like one of the biggest or craziest things to me that you've done is that, rodeo. That area of Stan used to be dead. Like prior to then, there used to be Super Oddbox, which had a little bit of attention.
After that,
and died out, and literally like, all the shops closed down. Everything was boarded up. And then Andy talks about this project that he's doing in Stan. I'm like, Stan, that's crazy. Like, what are you doing in Stan? You know what I mean? Like, that's insane. And he built this huge place, which is like packed now, still today. And it's just because you have, I don't know how to say it, like an eye or a taste for like certain things to bring things together that people will come out for. You know what I mean? Like that kind of food hall concept, a lot of people have done. Some don't really work out that well. You know what I mean? Like 4th Street is, as much as Love Santa, it's not doing as well as the other ones. And for you to curate that, it just tells that you know what you're doing. Like you have been in it long enough that you know what people like. Like, do you feel like that's something that you like built through the years, or something you've always had?
I'm always trying to create things that if I don't get excited, how am I going to get everyone else excited, right? Because I have to make sure I believe in it. I always relate it back to when people see the next iPhone coming out, right? When they premiere and they have a whole event for it, people get so stoked on it. That's how I try. That's how I try to get myself to feel when I'm developing projects or being a part of working with other people. If I can feel that excitement, then I know we're onto a hit.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel it, it's like it's hard to like, project that out to everyone else. If you don't feel it yourself, you don't believe in it.
That's true.
Please buy 4th Street Market. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I love Ryan Chase. He's the man. He's definitely one of the best landlords, period, to work with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ryan Chase is awesome.
Yeah.
Just get a pivot a little bit. So obviously you've been doing a lot of business throughout the years. That's like what people know you for. But aside from that, you are also a family man.
Yep.
You're a dad now, right? You're a girl dad, right?
Girl dad, yeah, 2 girls.
Oh,
yeah,
2 girls now.
Yeah, 2 girls.
God, congrats, man. Congrats. How does that affect you? Because you went from saying that when you were 30, you're like, maybe I'll just retire and do nothing. But now you're 37, grinding harder than you ever have, but with a family. That must be something that's kind of difficult too, right? To be busy and have 2 kids. Because what are their ages?
They're 3 and 10 months right now, so they're both little.
Holy crap. Yeah. Brand new.
It's definitely not. It's not easy by any means. It's probably being a dad is more challenging than any of my work in general.
Wow.
I think it's a lot. It's a lot that goes on that you don't know until you become a parent. But honestly, I always tell my friends, I was like, most of my friends always, before I had kids, they're like, hey, when you have kids, you're gonna make the most money ever. And I was like, what are you talking about, right? And I was like, how do you do that when you don't have time anymore? But your decision making it changes, right? Because you have to make sure the kids are taken care of. It's not just about you anymore.
Yeah.
Before you're like, I'm going all out. I'm gonna risk everything because I can go back and do it again. But now you're like, okay, I'm gonna risk things, but I'm gonna calculate the risk now. It's like, okay, I gotta make sure at least this stuff can take care of the kids, and then everything else I do, I can risk on that side.
Like this is their college funds. I probably shouldn't touch.
Yeah. So you're just making. I think you're making more sound decisions.
Yeah.
And now I also have to work in a better timely manner, right? Because I have to block out time to spend with my kids as well.
Yeah.
So I have hours that I'm not picking up my calls, or Philip there. If he tries to reach me at a certain time, he knows I'm not picking up my phone. Like, don't even call me. I'm not picking up.
Really? What time is that?
Usually from 5 to 9. Like that's the block that you're probably
That's
not
family time.
Yeah. Once I pick up the kids and spend time with them, then that's their time. And
what's the biggest lesson that you've learned now that you've had 2 kids?
It's way more than beyond just myself. I think doing the entrepreneurship before that was like 16 years already, 16 years, that I have to make better decisions because not just for them, but other people, the community is relying on me to do well.
Yeah.
I am put in this role model position, whether I like it or not, that I have to be the face of for the next generation.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think for myself, when I was looking for people that look like me. Right. I was like, okay, well, I wanted.
I can kind of see the resemblance.
I was trying to find like people, like a group of that, but there wasn't very many. There was, there was very next to none, right?
Yeah,
I probably had like 2 or 3 people. I was like, I want to look like that guy. That guy's Asian. He looks like a rapper. I want to look like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to look like a doc. I don't want to be in a coat or a suit. Like
Yeah.
But now there's so much more prominent Asian Americans coming up.
Yeah.
And for us to continue to grow that community, we have to be the leaders of it.
Do you feel like you thrive with that kind of pressure, since you are kind of the face? You, not only that, like, you are the head of a household, you are kind of like the face of this community. Do you need that to succeed, to thrive?
I don't think I need that to succeed, but it's a good motivational, factor to push me to keep going harder. It probably helps me make better decisions, knowing that's behind me. But in terms of like grinding with or without the public, I'd probably grind regardless.
Yeah.
I think that's just embedded in me. That's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
You said it's embedded in you. From where? From your family?
I'm just a competitive person against myself, right? I feel like I can always do better. Yeah. And I understand the limitless capabilities now. The confidence level, I think, over time has grown as well.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, if I do this, my chances of succeeding are a lot higher now, just because I've been through so much of it already, that I can just make better calculated decisions on how to reach that point of success.
Yeah.
And if it does fail, I probably won't fail as hard as I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that you've always been like that since a kid too, or did you learn that from somewhere?
I don't know. As a kid, I always felt like I was in this daydreaming state, right? I'm always like this daydream of like, hey, I'm gonna be this superhero. I want to be.
Me too.
I'm in class like drawing, doodling characters, like, and kind of imagine myself being like, saving the day in some type of way, right? Building stories in my head.
I still do that.
And I think as I got older, I became that leader in a different type of way, right? I'm leading. I may not be, flying and stuff, but I'm leading my teams with my voice, my content, and just the perception of what people see me as in the front, right? That's what they're watching, and hopefully that's a good motivational tool for them. And I go through a lot. I go through a lot of like down times, and I have my good and bad days as well.
Yeah.
But to the public, I'm always trying to project positive things out there. I'll share my failures along the way, but I try to keep the negative stuff like behind the scenes. I was like, hey, we get enough negative news out there already. Yeah. So if I'm gonna project it, I'm gonna project positive things out there.
So some transparency, but no negativity.
Yep.
So I don't want to project negative news or anything like that, but I do want to ask, like, your down times that you've gone through, like rough patches. Like, what were they, and like how'd you overcome it, and anything that you want to share with other people, because it does make you feel more human to hear that you have those rough times too. Because some other people might see you like how you're describing, like, Andy's a superhero. He's flawless. He's perfect. He does a lot of things. But to share that, I feel like that vulnerability is going to speak out to a lot of people who might need it. Might be like, oh crap, Andy I can relate to him. Like we go through the same thing.
Yeah, I've had a lot of I think in every period of my business life so far, I've had a lot of downturns. Mm-hmm. Real estate, my first career, real estate, I jumped in right before the recession hit. Right?
Right before 08?
I mean, right before 08. Right? And I started I'm King in 2007.
Yeah.
So, at that time, everyone's like, "What, did you just sell the business?" I was like, "No, like, we basically lost all our work, and we were forced to make I'm King work." But at that time, we didn't know that was going to happen. But that down period was really tough because we didn't know what the hell we were doing in clothing anyways. Yeah. And we just lost a big chunk of our business right here. This is gone. And in the clothing business, I learned a lot of things the hard way, right? I had a superstar team that was just so young, and we weren't responsible yet. We didn't understand a lot of things. Yeah. We lost tons of money. We've lost millions of dollars from things coming in at different seasons. Like, let's take, for example, a summer season doesn't come in, right? We order stuff from China. We ordered tank tops, right? A bunch of tank tops, like hundreds and thousands of dollars of tank tops.
Oh, crap.
It doesn't land here till the winter. What do you do when it lands in the winter?
Yeah, it's you.
Stores are not taking it.
Yeah.
You're taking like hits left and right. So, for us, it was like, hey, how do we keep the lights on? How do we keep our staff happy? Yeah. And that lots of moments in that time period. And also, I have people that are younger than me and older than me working, and I'm still in my early 20s, right? Yeah. So I'm like, how do I lead? How do I become a leader? I have teams separating, everyone hating each other. I have like one guy that's the cancer of the company that like tearing everyone apart, and I'm like just sitting here doing nothing about it, right? Because like, I can't figure it out. I don't know what to do.
Wow.
So I'm going through these like harsh moments where I hated going to work for a long time.
Holy crap.
I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And, things happen for a reason where I decided to do new hobbies, which, food became a hobby, and started the food thing, blew up a brand so fast and tried to launch other brands right after that.
Yeah.
And some of those brands didn't work out. They became like complete nightmares and failures.
Yeah.
And I lost a lot of money from those projects. But throughout that process, I just made sure, like, hey, just keep looking forward. Your next one will be better. People will just get over this stuff anyways. They can talk all they want.
Yeah.
But my next project's going to be bigger and better, and I'll be right on top again afterwards. So,
nice, dude.
Yeah.
That's positive mentality. I like that. So speaking about ups and downs, that's like we mainly just touch base on business stuff. But obviously, you're married now.
Yep.
That means you've been in a relationship. I'm assuming more than one.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Decent amount.
Yeah, decent amount. All right. So I'd like to know, like, what were the rough patches in your life when you went through, like, relationships? Like, what were hard times that you had through dating before you found your wife?
My early dating, definitely not pretty. I think as for most people, it's not, it's a learning process through a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had my share of the really intense ones and the inexperienced ones that are on your case about everything. And, taking away your social media accounts or whatever they need.
What?
Dealing with the cheating and all that stuff. I've gone through a lot of that early on.
Holy shit.
And, as I've always been in, I think for a lot of times I've always been in a relationship for the most part, from high school all the way till as I got older.
Oh.
But over time, as I met my wife and dated her, with her, she was a lot more mature, just understanding compromise and teaching me a lot about responsibilities, and working together. We're both very different, but we both have a lot of things also in common as well.
Yeah.
And I think relationships are very challenging because you're always trying to keep that spark alive as well. And a lot of things, especially myself, as I have kids, and it's a lot harder to keep that going.
Yeah.
And not only I have kids, I have a lot of work that's going on. But even for myself, like outside, everyone's like, yeah, you're like the boss everywhere you go, right? I'm at the office and stuff. I can, yes, I'm the boss. But when I come home, I'm not the boss. Everyone that knows me and actually meets my wife goes, oh. She's the boss. She's the boss. Like she's the one that I get. I get checked too at home. I get checked all the time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hey, you're on your phone too much. I'm like,
Oh,
yes,
damn.
baby.
you're on. Hey,
Wow.
you need to focus more. You need to block time out. You need to set.
Wow.
You need to you need to spend more time with your kids. You need to spend more time with me. Like stuff like that. So
Do you feel like you like that? Is that what you was always?
it balances it out, right? It balances it out where I'm not understanding that I can't control command every single place I go. Like I definitely do need to be checked at times because it's not only my world. There's other people in it too at the same time. So
Because I've noticed that a lot of people who tend to be in control, tend to be leaders or bosses in certain industries, they often gravitate to partners who are a little bit more type A, at least in the relationship.
Yeah.
And that's just something I've noticed.
Yeah,
where it's like, oh, you can take a step back in this and let this flourish. Like, let this person can check me and do this. Because that doesn't happen to you as like a leader, as a boss in most cases.
Yeah, exactly. Office, people are scared to say anything to me, even though I'm not scary. I don't think I am, but people are a lot, scared to ask questions. And my wife would tell me that she's like, hey, you're at home, like, even though people are not going to say anything to you there, like I'm going to say something to you.
Yeah, wow.
I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was like a common characteristic that a lot of girls that you dated had? Like, are you drawn to that, or?
I don't think I dated a lot of girls like that before.
Oh, so you didn't date a lot of Vietnamese women?
Well, I did a ton of Vietnamese women. But they're all, my wife, she's not from this area, so she grew up a lot she
Oh, really? Where's she
she's
from?
not an Orange County girl. She grew up in the Inland Empire.
Okay,
So she was the Corona area type of girl, and then she didn't understand the Vietnamese culture coming down this way.
Yeah.
She didn't have Vietnamese friends, so us like feeding off each other, learning from each other was very different.
Yeah.
And that's probably a big reason why I was attracted to her. I was like, hey, she's not like every other girl that I met in this area, and that's not what I'm looking for.
What was the moment where you were like, oh, this is the person I want to be with?
Before I married her, I've already known her for over 10 years before that already.
Oh, were you guys dating for that time?
We were friends. We were just friends for a long time.
Oh.
I think, the reason for us dating, we knew if we dated, that this would probably be it. Like we'll probably end up together forever.
Wow.
Just because of knowing each other for so long, and we're pretty much putting our friendship on the line at this point. Right?
Yeah.
If this doesn't work out, we're probably never gonna talk to each other again. So we got to make sure if we do this, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy in the beginning. It took a lot of time, and now we just have a lot better understanding being together for even just date. We've been dating dating and married for over a decade now too. So it's almost 2 decades of almost 18, 19 years of knowing each other.
Holy crap, you guys have known each other for a long time.
This is an inspirational story for anybody who was in the friend zone.
Yeah.
Just let you know, you can't get out.
You can't get out
for a long time.
How'd you do that? How did you transition from just being friends to like, hey, we should start dating?
I was going through a tough breakup at that time. She was, most of the time we were always with somebody, and I think that time period we were just
it's that window.
We were finally both like, hey, let's just give this a try and see what happens.
Yeah.
Was there always some kind of underlying like attraction there?
She knew I liked her like early on.
Does that make things complicated? Because like, okay, this happens, or at least I've noticed this happens in a lot of relationships where if you're dating someone and you're friends with a girl or someone of the opposite sex, they always kind of assume that you might like them or they like you. You know what I mean? And it kind of makes the current relationship that you're in kind of tougher. Because for instance, you've known her for now 19, 20 years, right? But you had already been friends with her for a decade, and you said that she knew that you liked her. Yeah. And you had dated in between then before that window happened. So I'm assuming like some of the girls that you were with, they're probably like, oh, that friend of yours, like I think she likes.
Watch out for that one.
Yeah, watch out for that one, right? Do you think back now and you're like, oh damn, they were right?
Probably, yeah. Most likely, you just at that time, you're not speaking of as much, and you're not saying things, and you don't know how to express your feelings at that time. So, as a guy, we just don't talk much. Period. We don't express our feelings to women or our friends like that. So,
Well, that's crazy. So it was like the first date that you guys had. How'd that happen?
A date. We went to get sushi in Huntington Beach, and then we just ended up at Main Street Piers hanging out after that. And from there it just led to us like dating for a long time, and then eventually getting married.
So how did you ask her to marry you? I know you didn't have a wedding out here, right?
So I got engaged in Greece and Santorini.
Okay.
So I proposed to her. She's
nice.
we're both we both love to travel, and that's her. I wanted to make sure I was like, hey, if I want to propose, it's going to be on a trip.
Yeah.
And what nicer place than all the white buildings and the
course.
ocean background. And then we got married in Thailand. And we had a destination wedding just because we couldn't find a venue here that could fit all of my friends.
Really? How many people did you have?
A lot.
Like what? 500?
I was looking for like a 600 plus venue.
Holy crap! That's double the biggest one I've been to.
So I couldn't find a venue, and I was like, I don't pay for all this.
Yeah.
It's for one. It's crazy. So she found this venue she saw her friend posted it, and she's like, where's that place? And asked questions, and she found it, and we're like, fine, we'll do it. I'll let her choose whatever she wants. And so we end up doing Thailand.
That's crazy.
About 80 of our friends decided to fly out and join us on it. And now that's, no one's ever going to forget that wedding now. It's because it was, you're in Thailand. It's like,
you're in Thailand. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that is crazy. Like you go, okay, so you proposed in Greece. You had your wedding in Thailand, right? Afterwards, you're like, okay, now we're married. Do we have kids, or what's the timeline on that?
We wanted to have the first couple years traveling first.
Oh, okay.
So I went traveling crazy the next 2 years.
Oh, did you?
I went probably like 20 something countries the next 2 years after that.
Nice.
I stepped back. That was my first time that I really stepped back away from my business. So it'll be like, hey, good luck, guys. Focus. I gotta go. Yeah. I gotta take a quick break from everything that's going on because I never have before. I never traveled for fun like that.
Yeah.
So I did. I did a 3-week bachelor party, my friend's bachelor party in Europe.
Yeah.
Hit all these countries in Europe.
Nice.
Me and her and our other friends went to New Zealand. We jumped to all these places. And those are memories that that was a re-energizing for me when I got back to work too.
Yeah.
But I also saw how much it affected my businesses when I wasn't around.
You came back and they all had poke.
I hope not. I was like, no more poke, please. It was definitely a lot of scrambling when I got back to really like lock in. But I also learned a lot. Like, I was like, hey, I got to build my businesses better so they don't rely on me when I'm not around.
Yeah,
so,
that is the end goal, right?
Yeah, of course.
Kind of like have it like self-sufficient, run itself,
and not being dependent on my information and advice. Yeah.
Obviously, the main goal is to make these businesses self-sufficient, so you don't have to watch everything and you could focus on other projects. Like, how did you figure out the systems to do that?
I got a lot stronger partners that could handle a lot of the operational role. That was never my strength, anyways. I don't like being on site. Like, my job should be out bringing us better deals, better projects. And as I started learning that, I just refused to, like, whenever we open a new spot, and if it comes into training time in the kitchen or just building or working on things, I just don't show up. Like, don't ask for me. I was like, don't ask for me. Don't have my number on speed dial. Yeah. If the place is on fire, don't have my name on the call sheet of owners. Like, so now if I go in the stores, a lot of the employees don't even know who I am.
Oh, really?
Like, you kind of keep that separation. Like, hey guys, you talk to them.
Yeah.
Like, I just pretend that I don't exist. If I really need something, I'll call one of them. I was like, hey, can you tell them I'm coming? But
because before you'd be like, you're handing everything.
Yeah, like, staff members would know who I am, saying hi, sitting there chatting and building this relationship. But now it's like a big separation because we have so much going on.
Yeah,
I have to kind of like stay in my lane, in my role, and let everyone do what they're best at. And I was like, hey, that's not what I'm good at anyways, or that's not what I enjoy doing. I enjoy this part, so I'm just gonna stay in this lane.
Yeah, I gotta learn how to do that.
No, that's awesome, dude. That's
so if the store's on fire, don't call me.
Yeah,
I'm not the fire department. Call the insurance, they'll figure it out. But
I got kids to take care of, y'all.
I'm not putting it out. Like, you gotta take care of that.
So you're friends and business partners with Fernando, right?
Yeah, Chef Fernando. Yeah.
That's crazy. I think about how small of the world is because I've known Fernando for a long time too, and like I met him just down here in downtown Santa Ana at a bar. We clicked because I was wearing this black scale hat. Okay. It was a silence hat from like way back then with the big fat embroidery. Yep. And he was like, "Yo, can I buy that hat off you? It's the only one."
He's a black scale fan.
Yeah, huge black scale fan. I had been sweating all night because I was dancing my ass off. And he was like, "I'll buy it off you right now, $400." I was like, "What?" He's like, "This is the only one that I didn't collect, so I want this one. I can't find it anywhere, you know."
Wait till he hears this. He's in Miami right now.
Is he?
Yeah,
okay,
he's out there right now, getting ready to serve our burger concept out at Rolling Loud over there.
Nice. Oh, you're doing it Rolling Loud?
Yeah.
Nice. Damn. So he'll be over watching that then.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not showing up to that.
He's out there right now. Yep.
That's cool though. Yeah, because afterwards, we talked like for a while, just like talking about streetwear and just kind of like talking about just life and stuff like that. And he disappeared for a bit, got in a relationship, and then he had a kid. And then next thing I know, I think I saw him at the trade, and then that's when I talked to him. He's like, "Yeah, I helped open this up with Andy," and I was like, "What the heck? What a small world!" Like, to think like this dude I just met talking about like streetwear years later pops up and he's doing concepts with you.
Yep.
And now I see him like everywhere doing concepts with you. Like, you guys have a couple things together, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of things together, and he's one of the executive chefs on our team, and
nice.
He's amazing at what he does, and he can pull off magic, right? That's the great thing about Fernando is, if I was like, hey, I want this new concept in a week, he's gonna pop it. In a week, it's up and running. Right? He makes it happen, and not a lot of people can do that, or not a lot of people are willing to do that.
Yeah.
But Fernando's, he's down to go an extra mile to make things happen.
Yeah. How'd you guys meet?
I met him. He used to own him and his dad. His dad used to own a restaurant down here in downtown Santa Ana called Zalico. So I ate there one time when I still had my I'm King clothing office down here. Afterwards, he ended up working for his buddy Mark at this called NWA, and they were trying to launch a concept together, and they're trying to bring me in to help kind of put that deal together. At that time, I was like, I don't need any more concepts. I'm good. I don't want to do any more food things.
Yeah.
And they're like, just come to the tasting, try the product, try it out, and then make a decision from there.
Yeah.
So I came to Izalico, and he made these fish tacos and this calamari, and I tried it. I was like, fuck. Fuck you, dude. I'm in. All right, Lord.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So we ended up opening Portside together, and from there, we've been developing concepts, tons of different concepts throughout the years.
Yeah.
And he's become one of my closest friends since. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Dude, you're one of those like miracle stories where you work with your friends. Like, that's so tight, And I know, like, I've tried to work with some friends, and it sometimes it's very difficult, And when it doesn't work out, I tried to think of it as like that was business and this is like friendship. You know, I try to split the two, but sometimes it is difficult to not be biased.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, some people are easy, some people are just like cool about it, other people, you know, just can't be in the same room with them anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Did you find that you had to establish certain boundaries when you were doing your business with friends?
Absolutely. I think over time, I had to set a lot of boundaries because I think, especially during my clothing brand phase, I definitely saw a lot of people taking advantage of the situation.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So a lot of people during my clothing days, a lot of guys used to like to party and do drugs and utilize our office for that space.
Oh.
And I'm not a drug user. I don't do that. So I felt like the guys were coming into work whenever they wanted, and they're just like taking advantage of everything. I was like, hey guys, that's when I had to change things. Like, hey, I don't want this. This can't happen anymore. If you guys want to continue to work here, then there needs to be rules. You can go do party whatever you want, but it has to be after work hours. Mm-hmm. Don't use the office space for that. And, you know, a lot of things that we had set, you know, rules. And as I started building more businesses going forward, you know, there's a lot of different rules. Like, hey, don't be dating your employees. Don't be doing any of these things. Just standard things. You want, you know, because you start learning a lot of things, and then you see a lot of lawsuits. I was like, hey, I'm not trying to get sued for this, right? It's not worth getting sued for this. Like, hey, if you want to go, hey girl, I'm gonna go take you. You can go down. I'll take you somewhere else. Like, you can go meet some girls here, but
It's in the library.
Yeah, don't do it here. Like, don't do it here. Like,
that's crazy. Wow, that's wild. I mean, I could kind of see that because I Am King is not like the most wholesome looking clothing brand. You know,
I still have the Lindsay Lohan shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
That was definitely the shirt that helped elevate the brand.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
that. Thing sold out like this. That was the one of the shirts that we did. We did on the fly because of what the moment that happened. Mm-hmm. But Japan ordered like so many of those that just like increased our funding so we could do a lot more after that.
Yeah.
That was like a pivotal piece in our brand.
Oh, I had no idea.
Awesome.
The
Wow.
team. I still have it too.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, like it's crazy because I'm King. The image of it is very different than the image of you. Would you say?
the I'm King brand wasn't based off me, right?
Oh.
In the early years, I wouldn't do interviews. I wouldn't be behind the camera. I just like stood away from things because I was never confident, and I didn't really feel like the brand was all me. I felt like it was always a team effort.
Oh, okay.
And we were all designing together, and everyone had their input at the time. But over time, I learned how to like lead and dictate more better.
Yeah.
But on the early days and all the stuff that we did early on, that was a completely team effort. Like everyone was having their input on those designs.
Oh. How did you find your team?
You know, we sold hopes and dreams, right? We didn't have, you know, we're just a bunch of kids, and we didn't have the money to go crazy. Yeah. But a lot of people helped us out early. Like my friends were shipping out boxes for free to hang out because they believed in what we were doing.
Nice.
They probably believed in us more than we did in ourselves at the time. Wow. And I think if we weren't able to sell those hopes and dreams, we wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. It seems like you've taken that. You know, your friends helping you out, everyone kind of helping you out. You've applied it to the rest of your business. Everything else you've done, at least from what you were saying earlier, where you're like, you know, you keep the door open and you're willing to like help out people when, you know, just give them a chance.
Of course, so I wouldn't be here if I didn't help other people and they didn't help me. Who knows what I'd be doing right now.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy balance because usually people get more jaded, even though they have good experience. They'll become more jaded where like, oh, I don't want to work with friends. Like I had a bad experience, you know, 1 or 2 or whatever. Sounds like you had a couple, but you still run with the idea that, hey, regardless, I still want to make things happen for other people, and I want to pay people back for helping me out.
Yeah, I think, you know, good and bad. Everything's not a good and bad. It's like all lessons in general, right? Mm-hmm. And with each experience of working with new people along the way, sometimes I meet, you know, other people that become my lifelong friends, like that guy right there. You know, I'm with them all the time, and you know, we're with each other all the time, and we haven't known each other for that long. But just you know, the door that opened, and seeing the work that he provides and does, and makes my life easier in different ways as well.
Yeah,
you know, that's why we end up working together.
Nice. I hope this works out, Peter.
Yeah, I hope this works out too. But I mean, all right. So through the years, obviously, you had a lot of business partners. You had a lot of relationships. Like, what do you feel like defines like the people that you keep around in your life? Obviously, you have like rules that define your wife. That's why you chose her as a lifelong partner, right? But I'm sure there are rules for the other people in your life, like Phil. You know, you're always around him, and I'm sure you have grown a lot of other people too. So I'm sure those guidelines have shifted, right? They've got probably a little bit more strict.
Yeah, definitely. Transparency is a big part of it. You know, being open and I think communication level is big for me. If you're not communicating and you're not saying things, you can already see things falling apart just because you're already like, hey, that's already red flags along the way.
Oh,
we're trying to get that, make sure that I work with people that I like being around, because if you don't, you're like, hey, what's the point? You're just trying to do is collect another check. There's a lot of other things I could have done a lot of things if I was just trying to make money, right?
Yeah.
I could have been a drug dealer.
But now you're a hope dealer.
Hope dealer. I mean, before we go into relationship red flags, you just talked about business red flags, right? What are a couple of business red flags that you want to put out there?
Communication, transparency, like the two biggest things. Like if you can't be transparent, like if you don't know what's going on, what are you gonna know? It's your business. Like it's a marriage. You're supposed to, similar relationships, like you have to compromise. And compromising is a big part of business. Like it's not just yours. Even though you have a vision, you still have other people involved.
Yeah.
And not just other people, not just other partners. You still have staff members and the customers. So you're trying to find a happy balance amongst all of that.
We'll get into relationship red flags. Since you've been your fair share, right? Now you kind of know what to look for. Of
course.
Right? So what would you say are a couple that you'd recommend to the audience out there?
I think trust is a big part, right? Trust and compromise. I think compromise is like the biggest thing because people are so used to their ways, right?
Yeah.
And now you're living with. If you're dating someone and you never lived with them before, I was like, hey, you need to live with them for a little bit first, because you're gonna find out so many things that you don't like or they don't like about you, and you don't even know so many because you're so touching your habits, right? And then now you get to this and you're like, I didn't even know I did that. I didn't even know that was the thing, right? I was like, when I did this at home, I didn't know this is a rule when you go over here.
Like what?
What was the thing that I was getting destroyed for all the time? I was getting destroyed. The way I made the bed was different than the way she was.
What?
The way I was closing the blinds, that was like almost. I was like, man, that was almost ruined our relationship. Almost like didn't even get married because of that.
What the heck?
The way I was closing blinds, she's like, you're gonna break that. I was like, I'll fucking just pay for it. She's like, you can't just pay for everything. I was like, yeah, I can't. I was like, that's what I work for. It was like chore doing work. Like you just resort to just wanting to just pay for everything. Like I was like, well, that's what I work for, right? If I don't want to clean up, I hire a maid. You gotta learn how to do things yourself too. I was like, so it just builds responsibility and habits, and a lot of different things. Trust factor I think is huge because I think a lot of my early relationships, being in the business I am around a lot of people, right? So girls get jealous, and I was like, what can I do? Either you trust me or you don't. And then, I think thank God I have my wife who's very confident in herself and nice. I don't want to lose her, so I'm not trying to do anything stupid. But I think that's why we've had success in our relationship so far, just because our trust, communications things I'm always trying to work on because she's a teacher and she's she's very good with her words and very good at playing by the book, and I hate playing by the book. I'm the opposite, right?
I'm just trying to hit
you like
so when she hits me, I'm like,
detention.
Don't talk to me like I'm a student, right? It drives me crazy. Because I was like, all right, I already don't like authority in schools, and she is authority in school, right?
And she brings it home.
And she brings it home, and I'm like, that's so tough. But then
so funny, like you hated school, like you married a teacher
who's like on it, like she is like, she's very on it, like organize everything, like and. You just get compromised. Like, hey, I'll do these things. I'll add this to my repertoire of my daily tasks, and she'll know when to back off from me on certain things. Like, hey, she can tell if I'm having a tough day, then she'll So there's a lot of things that over time you get better at it. Addressing a lot of it for reminders because it's easy to fall back into the same thing, the same really cycles. Is. Reminders are I think are a big part of it, and experience.
I think it's funny you say that, the whole blind thing, because like you learn your own way of living at home with like your family and everything too, and you come together with somebody else who has a completely different experience, and you're gonna have clashes and stuff like, no, you can't. That's not how you brush your teeth. You can't floss like that or something. It could be anything. Like
you can't just pay for
the sink is like, hey, there's water in the sink. I was like, the sun will dry it. Like, he's like, no, you need to wipe that. I was like. It'll evaporate on its own. Like she's like, no, it's gonna get spots. I was like, spots don't bother me, but I was like, okay.
Wait, so you guys lived together before you guys got married?
Yeah, we lived together for a long time. We lived together for like 5 years before we got married.
Okay, nice. So you would recommend that to everyone?
I would highly recommend that to anyone. If I met my friends that never lived their significant other before getting married, I was like, hey, make sure you guys live together because I've had friends that. They got married and they got divorced like within months. I was like,
wow.
And I was like, oh, that's what happens when you don't live together. Start finding things that you can't stand about each other.
Why'd you get divorced? You couldn't turn the blinds right.
He tried to pay for everything he broke.
Too many spots built.
Fuck, dude, that's crazy. That's a good piece of advice. I always tell my friends that same thing too because I've done the same where like I lived with a significant other, and I just found things where I'm like, wow, I never noticed this about you, you know, because I was never there.
Yep.
And same thing, you know, vice versa. And I was like, wow, this actually cannot work out. Yeah.
And it really speaks to like what you said about compromise, because you do have to like some things that you do your way, you can't do them your way anymore.
Yeah. That's the biggest compromise. It's your home. That's your safe space.
I
You
know.
what I mean? Like, you can't even do things the way you want it.
Yeah.
At home, that means it must be worth it.
But I think it's a good lead into having kids, right? Because
Yeah.
it's not about you anymore, right?
No.
Once you get into your wife, you can understand that. You can find that common ground. Once you have kids, you already know, like, hey, it's definitely not about you anymore, right? It's all about them now.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just living in their world.
I kind of have a question for you about your kids.
Yeah.
Since they're pretty young still, anything you're really worried about as a father? Them growing
guys.
up? Oh, really? Already? You're already like, oh, fucking guys.
Guys.
Why would you say that?
Those guys are trash.
They're dogs.
This is a headache. You're just good girls. You know, there's a lot of, safety, a lot of things that go on that this world, it's a crazy world out there.
Yeah.
And, I can hopefully instill the right things for my kids, and my wife will instill things, and hopefully they choose the right path, right? We're just here to build the blueprint for them and build some security for them, and they'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Do you want them to have an entrepreneurial mindset, like kind of like involved?
My life's not always all fun and games every day. Right? I deal with a lot, and sometimes you're like, I don't know if anyone wants to take on what I'm taking on, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot. It's a lot, like a lot of moving parts, and if they choose to, awesome, right? Then they're in for a wild ride.
Yeah.
But if they choose to go something else, I think as long, my wife and I are both very driven, and we both understand that life. We treat life as an adventure, and I think that's the way we're gonna instill it to our kids. Hopefully, they live a great adventure as well.
Nice.
And that they know that they have their parents that they can lean on and be open and ask questions and talk to, and we do the best we can. But they don't have to be they definitely don't have to be an entrepreneur.
Actually, I have a question about that. When you dated and everything before, did you need someone who's driven like you are? Maybe not to your extent, but you just need them to be driven.
I don't know if I needed it at the time. I didn't. I don't think the girls I dated previously were driven like the way I am. But I was still driven because I had a goal in mind, things that I wanted to accomplish. So I was always able to push myself, and also I knew I had partners and staff under me too that I wanted to make sure they're taken care of at the same time.
One of the questions that we ask here on the show, we always ask, is what is your craziest dating experience?
Dating experience?
Yeah. What is the craziest that you ever went on? You mentioned something earlier, some girl canceling your social media accounts, anything that stands out to you.
It's got to be a Vietnamese girl, dude.
A lot of Vietnamese girls.
That's crazy, dude. Just like, oh, damn.
One of my exes punched, she got super mad that the social media situation, and then she punched me in the face, and I was like,
holy crap.
Yeah.
Been there.
Was that it?
Huh?
Was that it after that? You're like,
after
done.
that, I was so pissed. My friend and my friends tricked me because they're like, hey, you want to go snowboarding? And then I was like, okay, I don't have any snowboarding gear. Like, don't worry, we're just hop in the car, we'll go, and they'll have it at the cabin. And then I end up at a rave. They just tricked me because they knew I wouldn't go if I was, if I told them, right? I ended up at my first rave experience with them, and I was super pissed. And you can tell what happened from there. I wasn't pissed anymore a few hours later.
Okay, so that's cool though. Hey, those are good friends. Because
friends.
Weirdly enough, I've been punched in the face by an ex too.
Yeah,
same.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I wish I was a smarter guy when I was younger and just been like, all right, this is an abusive relationship. I should probably get.
She hits you because she loves you.
Yeah, that's the way I try to rationalize it. I think I was in that relationship for another year. That's
what happens. But you're so young and inexperienced that you don't know. You can't tell what's toxic and what's not. Right?
That's definitely a red flag if they punch you in the face for sure.
Maybe we could title that of the episode. All three guys got punched by their exes.
Yeah,
that's true. We gotta put that out there. Male abuse happens way more often than you think. We just don't like talking about it.
Please put the male domestic abuse hotline number right here.
I would love to hear how many more guys this happened to, because obviously you always hear the female side, right? And I don't condone physical violence against women.
I know a lot of dudes who get
but then I've also heard a lot of guys who get beat up. And I'm just like, that's kind of crazy.
I got hit. I was like,
and it's like, okay, it's weird because you're fucked either way, right? They punch you, you're fucked, because then you're their bitch, right? They just punch you. 2, you can't hit them back because then you're a bitch for hitting them back. So it's there's no winning.
Even the cops, like, they won't do stuff. Like, I got a homie who's a cop, and he went into a domestic abuse call. Like, the guy called, the wife was hitting him. She was Korean, and she was, like, punching him and shit. And he's like, he basically told the guy to suck it up. Like, you know, just like, hey, like, if I report this and everything too, you're going to, because they have kids and everything, child support, whatever's going to come and everything, you know, there's going to be all this and that. Just, like, handle it, you know? But then it's like, you're fucked either way, right? Like,
Hey, man, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm getting like PTSD from hearing all these stories from the past, dude. You know, like, oh my god, dude. Like, I know this. I'm not gonna say who it is exactly, but someone that was kind of close to me. But he was very abusive of the wife, right? But what he would do is
we all know who it is, Peter.
no, I don't think you do actually.
Oh no,
no. What he would do is he'll call the cops on her after he abuses her, but he'll abuse himself first. So he'll cut himself with a knife and be like, I was just doing self-defense, and the cops would come, and it's fucking insane, dude. I'm just like, and they were together for a long ass time, and I hate to say that, like, I'm a better person, and I would have gone out of that relationship, but knowing me, especially that I didn't that time that happened to me, it's not as easy. You know what I mean? It's so much easier to be an outsider and give that piece of advice, like, oh, dude, you punch.
When you're in it, that stuff's not easy.
No, it isn't. It isn't. Like, I mean, what's a good piece of advice to tell people how to get out of it? You know what I mean? Now that at least we've gone through and we know that it's not as simple as like, yeah, okay, it's over, right? I mean, what did you break up with her after that, or did?
No, it took a while too. After,
yeah,
it still took a while.
Did it take something else for you to break up with her?
He's like, and I married her.
I think it's just the effect that was having on me that I was like, okay, fine, you know, like I just got to stop this. I can't do this anymore. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it's tough. Even though I think you translate that to a toxic work environment, very similar. It's hard to get out of a place like that. Right? It's just hard to get out of those situations in general. I think in all situations, just toxic things take a while, and you know, but once you realize that you can shake things off, and there's still so much ahead forward, and once that becomes like a habit, and you understand that, after that, it's like, hey, your life's a lot better. Yeah.
Okay, so usually this part, we always ask our guests if they have like a piece of advice, a gem that they give to the audience. And, you know, it doesn't have to be about business. Obviously, we've been talking about business the entire podcast. But, you know, maybe something that just you feel like resonates the most with you as a person, something that you've learned through all your experience as a person.
I always tell people that ideas, relationships, I think everything in general, if you don't go out and try, you'll never know, right? And I've always been in this headspace of that I don't want to regret anything. I want to make sure that when I'm like 100 years old with 100 grandchildren, I'm able to tell them that I lived the greatest story ever, right? And I'm living this adventure. And if I have anything that I've always wanted to accomplish, whether it's it doesn't matter what it is, I'm just going to go out and try it. And if it fails or succeed, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the result as long as I'm not sitting there wondering what if.
All right, guys, it's time for lightning round, where we ask our guests some rapid fire questions. If they can't answer on time, they drink their coconut water.
Coconut water.
All right.
All right, Andy, are you ready?
Yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah.
Right. 1, 2, 3. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Milk and cereal.
Okay. If you were a superhero, what would your name be? Drink. If you had your own restaurant, what would be the menu, your like top menu items?
I want to do a fusion upper class Vietnamese type of concept introduced to the world.
Ooh, nice.
Like kind of like Little Sister-ish, or a pirate?
I think I would take a lot more. I would be more experimental with it.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Most embarrassing moment?
I have lots. I don't know.
He was like, damn.
Freezing on camera right now.
Stumping him. You did a good job.
Your happiest moment?
Happiest moment? My kids in my life. Yeah, married and my kids. Yeah.
How do you plan to save the restaurant industry?
Through Web3, through my Food Fighters Universe project. That's what I'm doing.
Dream car.
I'm not a car guy. If I my midlife crisis, if you give me like, if I take a Lambo or Ferrari, probably have it for a year and then get rid of it, just to say I had it. Just say I had it in life, but I'm not really a car guy.
Okay, not really.
You married a girl from the IE, but you're not a car guy?
No, I drive the Tesla and Prius and like electric. Like I'm a simple, pretty simple on that side.
If you were not a business person, what would you be?
On the streets, I don't know.
That's still business though. Street pharmaceuticals. All right, cool. Favorite clothing brand?
Favorite clothing brand. That's tough because all my friends probably listen to this. I like a lot of clothing. I like a lot of brands. There's a lot of brands I like. I love the Hundreds, Civil.
Okay.
A lot of the leverage brands. A lot of my friends. I usually wear anything I'm wearing is like my friends. Usually my friends' brands.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Cool. Favorite pair of sneakers.
Jordans. I grew up in Jordan era, so anything with like Jordans are my thing. Yeah.
Favorite basketball player.
Michael Jordan.
Oh damn. Okay. MJ
classic.
everything, huh? If you could eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Probably Vietnamese food.
Vietnamese food.
Yeah.
Damn. So you're big on Vietnamese food then.
Yeah, I try so much different things all the time. Always trying so many different restaurants.
Yeah.
But when you come back to eating your home comfort food, it just takes you somewhere else.
What are the best Vietnamese restaurants you'd recommend people go to?
Out here, I just recently went to Little Saigon. We did a whole list. I filmed with the Key Concepts guys.
Okay. Nice.
Fox Kitchen, they always kill it.
Yeah.
Fuzz 79 is like a classic.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with Brodard. Artist has a lot of great food. I don't know. There's so much. There's so many different Vietnamese staples in Orange County that it doesn't taste better anywhere else.
Even in Vietnam, I feel like it's not as good.
Yeah, there's some dishes that are better over there, but there's some dishes that are better over here.
By far. What would the next country that you want to travel to?
Singapore.
Singapore. Okay. Wow. Why Singapore?
There's a lot of the street cart foods that I wanted to go try, and the airport looks crazy that I've always wanted to visit.
Oh,
yeah. I always wanted to check it. Singapore's been on my list for the Asian countries.
Nice. Singapore's cool.
Yeah.
Very strict though.
Yeah.
Extremely
I
strict.
heard you can't spit and chew gum or anything.
No, you can't spit. Yeah, it's crazy. But then you can smoke cigarettes on the street. It's weird.
Can you swallow?
Huh? What? Wow. If you had another kid, would it be a girl or a boy?
Doesn't matter. Just have a happy, healthy baby. I think that's that you can ask for.
That's
Are you gonna be done at 2, or are you gonna keep going?
I still want one more, so it's fun. It's just there. It's tough at times, but when they get older, it's gonna be fun when they're a lot older. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
It still is fun. It's just different.
Yeah.
different fun.
No, I'm sure. I mean, they're so close in age, so it's like not too bad. And then if you have a third one, they're gonna be the biggest. That's the biggest gap between all of them too.
All right, guys, this concludes our lightning round. I want to say thank you to Andy for being such an amazing guest. Let us know where we can find you.
You can find me on all the social channels at Andy Nguyen.
And thank you guys for sticking all the way through. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know below what you guys want us to talk about next or who you guys want us to talk to, because we are guys that listen.
And remember,
Live fast, eat ass.